As Ragnarok ends, Asgard falls, and Atreus begins a new journey on his own. The realms will never be the same after the events of God of War Ragnarok. Once those credits roll, though, there are tons of different things for Kratos to do, and a lot of changes that happen to literally every single realm, and perhaps even every single creature. I wanted to go through all of the things you can do once the credits roll, but more importantly, what the outcomes are for these realms and worlds based on the actions of Kratos and Atreus. Let's start off with the most heart-wrenching thing. As you know, at the end of the game, Atreus starts his own journey to be his own man to find the rest of the giants. If you're feeling sentimental, you can head back to Kratos and Atreus' home, original home, in the game and see something special.
What is it?
Mementos from Atreus' journey.
What will you do with it?
Add it to our own. His story is ours, and ours is his.
Too right, brother.
It's an indicator that Atreus has already begun his new journey on being a man, and also shows that he's perhaps inherited Kratos' love of getting small mementos and finding every piece of treasure he can. Unfortunately, as you keep playing and completing missions, you don't get more mementos, but possibly this one memento shrine is how a next DLC or perhaps even game will continue. Remember, in the first game, it ended with an epilogue suggesting that Thor is going to be there and a fight will ensue, and that's pretty similar to how the second game began. Speaking of tying up loose ends, after you're done checking out the mementos that Atreus has left, why don't you head over to Freya's old house? You may remember her home was actually a sentient turtle being that was alive in the first game, and when it met with Atreus in the second game, wasn't doing very well. If you completed, before going to see Freya's home, a specific side mission in Vanaheim with a traveler, you'll get a very, very different outcome for Freya and her house.
Like I could sleep through Ragnarok.
Funny you should say that.
No. He has earned his rest.
Yes. I think it may be time for this old warrior to finally lay down his sword and find a quiet place to retire.
Quiet place, huh? Aren't you gonna miss Freya and his crew?
I will miss their companionship, yes. But this is no place to convalesce.
Actually, I know somebody else out there who's alone and could use your help. Let's talk later.
I would like that.
We're heading back to Charlie?
Yes.
He's not going to be very happy with me.
No.
Charlie. I'm sorry, I have no excuse for neglecting you. I will do my best to earn it. Is someone inside?
Yes.
Warming up already, isn't it?
Birger,
Hello.
what are you doing here?
Keeping warm. Both of us. It is your home if you wish me to leave.
No. It's good that he has someone.
Will you stay?
There is still much to be done.
Then we will wait. And when it is time to rest, I will keep the hearth warm.
Thank you, Birgir.
If you didn't complete Birgir's missions in the crater and actually find him in Vanaheim, unfortunately, you won't get this outcome, and you'll get a much more depressing outcome for Freya and her home. Since we're revisiting all of our favorite haunts, why don't you head over to Sindri's house and see if the devastated and traumatized dwarf is there, chipper and ready to help us out.
No, turn around. Don't talk to me.
Hello. You wish to speak with me?
Hello, Ratatoskr.
Hello, Master Kratos. What you've accomplished for these realms is truly something I never thought possible. Rest assured, good Master Brok would be proud beyond measure, even if only to express it in his love language of profane non-sequiturs. But he is terribly missed.
Yes, he is.
Now, there is one rather interesting development to apprise you of. The detonation of Asgard shook the world tree to its very roots, dislodging a great number of realm seeds. I thought you might wish to have them. My little way of saying, thank you for preventing my death by immolation.
You are welcome.
But putting all that aside for the moment, is there anything else?
Go on.
I understand if what I'm about to say may come across as facetious or self-serving, but I wanted you to know that I truly, from the bottom of my heart, appreciate everything you have done for both myself and my tree. Thank you.
You are welcome.
What is most difficult to accept about myself are my limitations.
Show some pride!
Whether they be my physical limitations, my size, my confinement to this tree, or my emotional limitations, of which you have had to deal with far too many times.
Too many words.
They plagued me. And as a result, I envied someone like you, Master Kratos.
No, I feel so
But now I
stupid.
realize that even someone as seemingly all-powerful as you does not lack limitations, but instead, like the rest of us, has to work hard to surpass them.
Oh, enough already! You're gonna bore him to death!
Forgive my rambling. In short, you have taught me a lot, Master Kratos, and I thank you. You are welcome in my tree anytime as an honored guest.
Very well, then.
Journey forth in health and safety, my friends.
Hi, Kratos.
What is wrong?
No, nothing. It's just, don't know if you've heard, but we're gonna say goodbye to Brok in Svartalfheim.
A funeral.
Yeah. We're meeting at Rab's Tavern in Niedervalir.
We will be there.
Quality stuff for you. Let me get my fortune hammer. My lady.
Impressive.
Know what you want?
Thanks for grabbing that for us.
I wonder if Sindri will ever come back. Can this place ever feel like a home after what happened here?
I never thought I'd miss their bickering. But it's really not the same place without those two, is it?
We will maintain it until his return. Mimir, did I do enough to prepare Atreus?
The lad survived bloody Ragnarok. I should think he's as prepared as anyone could be.
To survive, yes. But to love,
Brother?
Angrboda. Does he?
Oh. Well, there were certain topics on which I suppose I may have been a touch more approachable. I did my level best to teach him the ropes.
Then you taught the boy to woo?
To be perfectly honest, brother, I taught him how I wish I'd wooed.
We'll eventually get to that final memorial for Brok, but this does show how really depressing it is to be inside Sindri's old home. Who knows if he's ever going to return? This is where his brother was killed, and he's just not in a good place. You may have noticed there was a specific, very touching scene about Kratos wondering if he did enough for his son Atreus, if he taught him perhaps how to protect himself, but not how to find love. In an attempt to follow that story, why don't Kratos and Freya and Mimir head to Jotunheim and see what Angrboda is up to?
Ah, if I had a stomach, it'd be twisting right now.
Odin is gone. There's no remaining threat.
No, it's from excitement. Hardly any non-giants have gotten the great privilege of visiting the realm of the Jotnar.
It's truly an honor to be among a very select few. So this is Jotunheim.
As beautiful as the stories, and then some.
Company's here, Finn.
Angrboda,
Kratos, Mimir, Freya. It's good to see you.
I wish to thank you for creating a path out of Asgard for us.
Aye, a true pleasure to meet the lassie who saved our skins.
Indeed. Your giant stuff magic is truly a marvel.
We were so glad we got there in time. Freya, your brother's sacrifice won't be forgotten.
It won't.
I will say, you've made quite the impression on our Atreus' heart.
Mimir,
Oh, like you weren't thinking it, brother.
Ahem. You're a cherished ally, Angrboda. I hope we cross paths again.
I imagine we will. There's lots to do, and I'm just getting started. Kratos? The last time you were here was because of Faye, right?
you saw this in prophecy.
Your son told me. It's a beautiful place to rest.
It is what she wished. You painted these shrines.
Some of them. Some I finished for my mother.
Your work is beautiful.
Your skill with a brush is unmatched, Angrboda.
My son, he draws.
He told me.
Although he'd do well to learn from your use of color.
We come from a long line of artisans, so he has it in him. He just needs some discipline to bring it out.
I like you. Away. Angerboda, you are the last giant left in Jotunheim.
No, actually. My grandmother, Gryla. She's, not really one for visitors, but she's still here. She's helping me forage at the moment.
After all you've done, lass, she must be so proud to have a granddaughter such as yourself.
She might be. Someday. I don't know quite yet, but I think it's a start.
You know, back in Jotunheim, I had half a mind to ask Angerboda what exactly her intentions were with the lad. But one look at her, and any doubts I had melted away.
It's a question every parent must grapple with sooner or later.
I trusted her with my life. I trust her with my son.
You can't argue with that.
It's strange. There are still signs of the world serpent all over the lake. But we saw him disappear at Ragnarok.
That can only mean the legend was true all along. That blow from Thor sent Jormungandr straight back in time. A younger Jormi, fresh from Jotunheim, would grow into the serpent we know.
When we first met the snake, you said that he found Atreus familiar. Perhaps they met in Jotunheim.
Perhaps so, brother. We'll have to ask the lad for that story when we next see him.
When Jormungandr attacked Thor in Asgard, it seemed personal somehow. But there's no way they could have met before that, is there?
I've been pondering that, and I have a theory. We know the lad spent his time in Jotunheim learning soul magic. Perhaps the serpent figured in.
You mean Atreus placed some other giant soul into him? Someone who already hated Thor to begin with?
Exactly! Though that doesn't narrow it down much, I grant you. I wonder if Jormi even remembers after all this time who he once was.
It's possible that this could be the jumping off point for any sort of DLC or Loki-focused stories in the God of War realm going forward. But it does beg the question, what has happened to the other realms? Now that Ragnarok is over, how are things changing? So I wanted to start off with Vanaheim, that is going through some major changes and actually taking in a lot of the refugees from Asgard.
I'm working with Hildisvini to get the rest of the Asgardians to Vanaheim, to help rebuild.
Then I hope it can be a fresh start for them. And you.
I hear you're headed to Vanaheim with the Aesir.
That's correct.
Ah, never thought I'd see the day Vanir and Aesir existed in peace.
How optimistically presumptuous of you.
I suppose so.
We offered to take them in, but I don't expect things to be easy right away.
Well, something to work towards.
Civility is certainly a start.
To Vanaheim, then.
Sounded like Lady Sif managed to convince the old boar to shelter the Aesir refugees.
It was his idea.
Oh?
To foster peace among the Vanir and Aesir.
That's brilliant. Shifty bastard must be trying to prove he can out-diplomat me.
At least he's not convincing her to marry someone, like some other diplomats would.
A deservedly low blow, Your Majesty.
Anytime.
Now, regarding security.
An equal force of Vanir and Einherjar must be present at all times.
The presence of Einherjar may be difficult for my people.
Just as their presence would comfort mine.
Perhaps we table that for now. Kratos, Freya, Welcome back. Mimir.
Lady Sif,
Freya.
it speaks volumes seeing you here in person. The first of the Aesir to visit us in peace.
Really, Your Majesty?
It's the capacity of the Vanir's forgiveness that speaks volumes.
We know Asgard was more than Odin and his Einherjar. If they'll help us rebuild, they're more than welcome to stay.
Aesir and Vanir living together. I never thought it possible.
I imagine a severe lack of options for the Aesir helped ease things along.
Oh, Mimir. It has truly been a pleasure not listening to your prattling commentary for the last 100 winters.
Well, excuse me, milady.
100 winters of Mimir bleeding at court? I think I'd rather be exiled.
Indeed. Well, the stories I have.
Really? Do tell.
Well, everything appears to be in order here, diplomacy administered, and all's well. Let's leave these two to their planning, shall we?
So this is a brand new future for the Asgardians and those in Vanaheim, actually rallying together, maybe not under one leader, but it does give you an idea as to what happened with the remaining Asgardians that are not connected to the ongoing war and maybe are not as focused on the spells of Odin and just want to survive. Unfortunately, there are still some that are trapped within Odin's thrall. They are considered the parts of Asgard, the actual physical manifestations of the realms that have fallen all over the realms. And there's a little hidden story if you're able to complete them all. It leads us to a Valkyrie Queen, which we won't get to until much later. That really is the closing moment, I think, of the endgame experience. But just following the parts of Asgard shows us another side of the people that lived in this realm under the yoke of Odin.
Well, if there's more of these Asgard fragments out there, the Einherjar will continue to be a nuisance for the realms.
Only if we do nothing. The realms will never heal if they remain.
How many more?
Only one way to find out. You see that in the sky? It's just like what we saw near that fallen chunk of Asgard.
There must be another nearby.
Shall we? I don't understand why they keep fighting. Can't they sense Odin is dead?
They are soldiers. They will always be loyal to him, alive or dead. It is a matter of honor.
Yes, they will continue to follow his orders and keep the realms under his thumb.
Not for long, they won't.
Careful, brother! You're covered in blood! I just had a thought. With Asgard destroyed, where will the Einherjar go?
Valhalla exists both inside and outside of Asgard. Who knows what became of it?
Aye. Suppose they'll have to find rest somewhere.
It does not.
I'm glad we can help these Einherjar on their way, even if they hate us for it.
They do not need to spend their afterlife serving a cruel god any longer.
Agreed. I wonder how many of these fragments of Asgard there are.
A realm's worth at least, so I'd say we have our work cut out for us.
Another camp defeated.
Aye, and one step closer to giving the realms a shot at healing. Careful, brother! You're covered in bifrost! It seems for every camp we destroy, we find 2 more.
It's almost impressive.
Careful, brother! You're covered in bifrost!
This is truly thankless work.
It must be done.
I'm sure the civilians we're protecting would thank us. Well, thank both of you. Me, they would just point at and scream.
I feel bad for the Asgardians, and even worse for the Midgardian refugees. Learning the god they indebted themselves to didn't care for them at all. Such a profound betrayal.
Aye. Their homes will not be the only thing they will be rebuilding. I believe that was the last stronghold of the Aesir.
So, Odin's oppressive ways have finally ended.
Are you satisfied?
Yes. Perhaps the realms may finally find peace and healing.
As for Alfheim, Svartalfheim, and Helheim, not a lot of changes happened. But as you may know, in Alfheim, Freyr was able to unite the dark and light elves together. It turns out that that lasting peace maybe isn't so lasting. There could be some changes happening in the leadership of Helheim, and perhaps the most depressing outcome is in Svartalfheim. This new rebellion of not having the dictator at your throat anymore maybe isn't really kicking in and could take a while before real freedom is accepted by the dwarves.
Red, ask some security already.
Odin is gone.
So they say. Hence the state of teetotaling perfection you see before you. The man before you is as sober as the day he was born.
You are still drinking.
This is goat's milk.
It is brown.
It was an ugly goat. Look, the pointers. It actually happened. A man lives with a boot on their face long enough, they lose hope their cheeks will ever feel the same. None of us ever really thought we'd get rid of Odin. That we did, and that you helped. Well, it's not something anyone's likely to forget.
Thank you.
Yeah, well.
Mimir, there's something I wanted to ask you about. Hildisvini told me about your visit to secure Hel's army, but was reluctant to elaborate when it came to negotiating with Krasvagr.
Ah, yes. Well, I can see why he'd hold off on such a subject until he saw if we survived the battle.
Amir, what exactly did you promise the large bird?
Oh, nothing too horrifying. It's just that she'd like to retire.
Retire? Hel's eagle wants to retire?
Indeed. And don't ask me what she expects to do with her free time. I assure you there is no reassuring answer.
Can she even do that? Not be Hel?
Apparently so. She just requires relief. Someone else to step in and become Hel, as it were.
Not exactly an office many would wish to occupy.
Aye. Terrible weather, infinite hours, and the possibility of unleashing terrible mischief on the realms if they're careless. Or worse, if they aren't completely trustworthy.
But if she were to leave without a replacement?
Complete chaos, yes.
Well, I'm sorry I asked.
She knew the tears were... Well, then I would...
We'll be going then. I look forward to exploring Alfheim and not having to fight elves.
Oh? What makes you think that's an option?
They've united, haven't they? What possible reason would they have to attack us?
Sorry to say, but there are still plenty of elves out in the Barrens eager for conflict.
But why? Freyr united them. They fought together at Ragnarok.
For those who have spent their lives in combat, Peace is not always an option.
As for Midgard, a really interesting caveat there. It turns out because Fimbulwinter is now over and this version of Ragnarok was completed, the weather is now heating up and humans can live in this realm again. There is one friend of Atreus that we've met before who actually will eventually become the legendary king of Denmark, and he has a really interesting little side story that you can enjoy after Ragnarok.
Oh, and if you could get this wood over to Brana's tent, she'd really appreciate it. Okay, if we can get the rest of the tents up by nightfall, rations out to the kids, we should be in good shape. I should send someone over to Sif to see if they need anything.
Skilder?
Loki! Hey! Glad to see the head injury didn't make you forget me. Did you have a head injury? Everything was a blur. Maybe that was someone else. Anyway, man, I'm really glad to see you.
I'm glad to see you too. Looks like you're keeping busy.
I'm just happy to help folks. We're on track to have bedrolls for everyone, and your friend's wolves have been helping out with hunting. We should have plenty to feed everyone.
No shit.
No shit? And hey, thank you for everything. We wouldn't even be here without you and your friends.
Yeah, of course. I just wish we could have gotten more people out.
Loki, you did good.
Thanks, Skilder. Take care, okay?
Hey, you know me. Has anyone seen any extra blankets lying around? That snow might be melting, but it's still gonna be pretty cold in this place. What else? What else? I've gotta be missing something. Has everyone eaten? Have I eaten? Huh, should maybe do that soon. Come on! How are you in there so deep?
Am I hearing voices again?
Someone's out here.
You are Atreus' friend.
Oh! Hi, hey, you're Loki's dad, right? Saw you at the whole Ragnarok thing. I'm Skilder.
The lad who's been organizing the displaced Midgardians. What are you doing?
Oh, Loki told me this story about Odin inviting him to Asgard and giving him an Aesir coin that you threw away, and well, I thought I'd come here and see if I could find it. And I did, if you can believe it. But, it's kind of stuck, because you're, like, crazy strong, apparently. I'm sorry, did you want to keep it?
No, it is yours.
You sure? It's probably really valuable. I mean, that's not why I'm after it, but if I were gonna sell a genuine Asgardian artifact touched by at least 3 gods, I'd expect that'd fetch, well, a whole lot. Probably enough to buy my own boat, set out, and make my fortune.
The coin is yours. Good luck to you.
Thanks. You too. And if you see Thrud, never mind.
You wished word of Thor's daughter.
Thrud? You saw Thrud? How is she?
She is well. She has recovered her father's hammer.
Oh, that's amazing. Don't you worry. She's gonna do good with that thing. She's an amazing person. Probably my favorite. I mean, not like that. She doesn't have time for boys, but I don't care. She's just great. Is it getting warmer? I feel like it's getting warmer. How about that thaw?
Still.
Before you say anything, I have a perfectly reasonable explanation for still being here.
Which is?
I come here to cry? Don't tell Thrud, though.
Why would we? Oh, never mind. I like to imagine he'll be a great king someday, and we can say we knew him when he was an idiot.
Again, I know this must be looking pretty silly, but it's gonna come out this time. It's gotta.
You remind me of one from my homeland. He too could not part ways with a boulder. I hope your fate is happier than his.
That sounds extremely disturbing, but thank you. I do too.
Now there he's talking about Thrud, who remember is Thor's daughter and was shot away by Thor's hammer as he passed on. The last we saw of her was during the ending credits, speaking with her mother, saying she did want to be a Valkyrie, but had something she wanted to do first. Here is what that was.
Timon, remember that thing I said you was gonna want to see? You better go feast your peepers before it's over.
Wait a bloody moment. Is that?
Thor's hammer and his daughter.
I'll make you proud, Dad.
Well, good for her.
How about that? Didn't I tell y'all there'd be something to see? Feels half crazy to say it, but I got a good feeling about that Thrud girl. Never minding what family she came from.
I quite agree. She's an impressive young woman.
I thought you might. Why, I ain't never seen anyone quite so awestruck as when she laid eyes on you back at the hole. Like meeting her idol.
She was apparently quite eager to learn from all the Valkyries. Now that she has Mjolnir, I expect her next stop will be to begin training with Sigrun.
I think Brok and Sindri would be happy knowing that hammer's finally with someone worthy to wield it. And a future Valkyrie, no less.
It does seem like they're perhaps setting up a new hero, especially considering the story that Kratos went through, and Thrud could be our very new god of war. As you may have noticed, I haven't talked about or mentioned Niflheim yet. There's a new area that opened up there. It's a very depressing area because all you can hear are the mournful cries of Surtur's wife, who knows that he gave up his existence sort of meaninglessly if we actually look at what has happened in Ragnarok and the choices the characters made, and that she will continue to exist without him here. So that's pretty depressing. There's nothing to interact with there just to make you feel bad. But there is something very important. There is a hidden Asgardian prison, and once you break in, you find none other than the real Tyr. Apparently, he and other individuals were imprisoned there so that Odin could use his shape-shifting magic to become them and impersonate them throughout the realms. Once you break Tyr out, you then see him in several different realms, taking an assessment of what's going on in this universe and maybe what will happen next.
Freya! I can't believe it.
Wait, that can't be. Lord Tyr.
Is this an illusion?
No, brother. No, I think it's the real deal.
Mimir? Is that you, old friend?
In all the important ways, aye.
There was such a commotion. If Odin learns what you've done...
Odin is dead.
The realms are at last free of him. You're safe.
Odin's dead.
And Asgard fallen.
So the reign of the Aesir is truly over. That's quite a lot to take in. And you are?
His name is Kratos.
Kratos? I know that name.
Come. You need real shelter. Food.
No. No, what I need most now, I think, is to reflect on what you've told me. I need space, if you would grant me that.
Very well. Our home is in the realm between realms for the moment. You can find us there when you're ready.
Kratos. I know you from somewhere. I'm sure it will come back to me.
Until then.
I appreciate your concern, but I'm fine. I guess we all are. but I would...
You believe that was truly him?
It's hard to trust anything after what we've been through. But with Odin gone, I have no cause to doubt it.
Our paths will cross again. Of that, I'm sure.
Why, that's the dwarven sound device Sindri used during the Battle of Ragnarok. We might still find use for it yet. Well, now we know what this prison's for. This is where Odin stashed those he would camouflage himself as.
Makes sense. If you're going to imitate someone, you wouldn't want them walking around.
Why not kill them?
He must need them alive in order to assume their form.
Aye. Odin likely wanted Tyr dead for a multitude of reasons. But he knew Tyr would be more useful alive.
Your god of war has truly returned. What now?
He'll want to stretch his legs, I imagine. Imprisonment stokes wanderlust. Not that I need to remind any of us of that.
You saved them, Freya.
I did nothing.
No. I did nothing. Scratching tally marks into a cell while the world ended around me. You returned to your people. You endured their hatred. You helped them become more.
Freyr and his soldiers...
They survived. They endured. But there's a reason the tide turned when the goddess Freya returned home. Your love of this place. I can feel it. Smell it in the breeze. Anyone can. That love makes you strong. Makes your people strong. It's why you won.
Thank you.
What happened here?
Surtur sacrificed himself for Ragnarok.
Perhaps he was able to find peace after all. I always felt sorry for him and Sinmara.
She's still alive, if you wish to speak to her.
I was in Niflheim briefly. A weeping emanates from the realm. I think she's grieving. And may grieve for a long while yet.
Is that Tyr?
What is he doing?
Talking.
Awful quietly.
There are other ways to communicate.
Freyr. He forged a piece.
Of a sort.
Wish I could have seen that.
I'm sure he wished the same.
If you'll... excuse me. I wish to pay my respects to your brother. In my own way.
Of course. Let's go, Kratos. Tyr.
I would be left alone, please.
Of course.
It's still here.
Aye.
But it's no longer chained. You freed it?
Tried to. But as you can see...
Even if he couldn't escape, some part of him appreciates what you did.
If you say so.
I was a prisoner of Odin's. Same as this creature. Same as you. I assume Kratos took your head?
Aye.
And do you resent him for his inability to free your body?
Of course not. But...
Then perhaps you have some idea of how this creature feels.
We will leave you in peace.
We mentioned her before, but the Valkyrie Queen of Odin, Gná, is still alive, and she was rallying those parts of Asgard to have one sort of ill-fated rebellion in the name of Odin. Eventually, Freya and Kratos are able to find her and attack her at Muspelheim, where she has her final stand.
Traitor! Gná. She's fierce. Attack only if you think we are ready.
Good! I'll see you pay for what you've done!
It's sigil magic! Yelpa!
Submit! God of no one! For my fallen sister!
And this is for mine!
You abandoned us! Asgard's blood! Unworthy!
Getting someone? We've both been blinded by Odin. It doesn't have to end this way. Yelpa!
Fading fire! I failed! Alpha! You judge me. You, whose cowardice has left entire realms in ruin.
Sister, I know the hate that burns you from within. I have felt those flames, known the comfort of their warmth. I wronged you. And I cannot change that. Never apologize enough for it. But the hatred, vengeance, you have to let it go.
Finish it.
Yes, sister.
Freya, I'm sorry it came to that.
I gave her what she wanted. But thank you.
So then, how's it feel being Queen of the Valkyries once more?
Queen. Why? There are no Valkyries left.
The Shield Maidens. Will you not lead them? Or rebuild?
Maybe. It would be the first time in a while I have something truly mine.
Now, all of this is important and interesting about what's happened in the world of God of War Ragnarok, but there's one last thing that I've left for the end, and that is the memorial for Brok. It is the true ending of the game. It is a moment where we say goodbye to these characters, and it's a very, very special way to send this game off and possibly even send off the Norse mythological world. Please do enjoy and appreciate the pain of one's brother Sindri.
The paperwork that man created for me. I had to build a chest just for his violations. A big one.
I taught him 20 different ways to cold forge a bolster. Once, he taught me a slightly easier method of wire pulling, and from that day on called me his apprentice.
A true asshole he was. Gods, I'm gonna miss him.
Hi, y'all made it. Just about to send him off.
I have met many on my travels. You are one of the few I would call friend.
I always thought you were one of the dumbest creatures I'd ever met. Didn't expect you to be the bravest, too.
This world is a darker place for your leaving it.
We're taking him to the Sverd Sands. It's, in the wetlands near the ferry. We'll wait for you there.
Damn it.
What is wrong?
I should have changed. Sewn some mourning garb. We're not dressed properly.
We're fine. The dwarves don't typically require formal wear at funerals.
Brok certainly would not.
Perhaps.
Still, now you've got me thinking of what I might look like with some jewelry around my neck stump. Maybe some gold woven into my beard. That'd be quite fetching, eh?
Thanks for trying.
There they are, brother.
Oh, come on, surely he'll be along. It's his brother.
Let's hope so. Loss can do things to a man. You made it. We can begin.
Sindri. Brok was...
A hole.
What?
Gets bigger the more you take away.
I don't know if there's anything beyond the light. Afterlives after afterlives or whatever you. But if there is, well, I imagine he's causing one crazy ruckus there.
I wrote that dirge for him.
What's it called?
Something profane.
He wouldn't have it any other way.
Forgive Sindri. He's just, I mean, you know.
So there you have it. That is everything you can do in the world of God of War Ragnarok after the credits rolled. We knew what happened in the world, the different changes that are happening in the realms. The final question has to be, will we come back to the Norse mythology, or is the God of War story finally moving on to something brand new?